Trophies are often the pinnacle of a footballer's career. When your knees give out on you and you're forced to hang up your boots, silverware is something that a player can look back on as a tangible accomplishment, typically tied to a deeply emotive sense of achievement, particularly if you played a significant role in that triumph. I know this is absolute footballing sacrilege, but I sometimes wonder whether the importance of trophies is slightly overblown. If Roy Keane's watching, he's just choked on his pint of Guinness and is now plotting to assault me with a baseball bat. Of course, the ultimate aim for a player, and for a club, is to win things. But I look back on Hull City's run to the FA Cup final in 2014, where we went 2-0 up against Arsenal in the final before losing 3-2. Obviously, I wish we had won that game and had won the FA Cup, but it's really the memories and emotions that make football special, isn't it? And we still got all of that. We still got the highs and the lows, the exhilaration, that joyous run, 2 trips to Wembley, and the chance to play in what once was, and arguably still is, the biggest game in English football. Maybe I've just become attuned to the fact that I'll probably never see my team win a major trophy, or get that close again, and that is just my coping mechanism. Anyhow, that is a wild tangent that I've just gone off on. Basically, today's video is all about players who haven't won any trophies. I made this video years ago using an all-time format, so just to be clear, this video is solely in regards to active players, and they're ranked on current ability. When I say footballers who've never won a trophy, I mean a major trophy, and when I say a major trophy, I mean any elite level senior domestic or continental competition at club or international level. The World Cup counts, the Under-17 World Cup doesn't. Liga MX counts, the Papa John's Pizza Trophy doesn't. The League Cup counts, but pre-season and Super Cups don't. You get the gist. Only players aged 25 or older are eligible, since I don't think it's particularly interesting if a talented 22-year-old just hasn't won a trophy yet. Enormously laboured introduction done and dusted then, I know how much you all love them. Here are my views on 7 of the best players in world football right now who have never won a major trophy. Luis Muriel. You couldn't call Luis Muriel a late bloomer because he was an outstanding prospect at youth team level who burst onto the scene at Deportivo Cali as a teenager. But nor could you say that he peaked early, since he is playing the best football of his career right now, soon to turn 30. Is there a name in football for someone whose career trajectory looks a bit like this? I'm not sure. I suppose in mathematics you might call it a U-shaped parabola, or in more common parlance, just a smiley face shape. I'm really set on bizarre tangents today, aren't I? Anyhow, the point being, Luis Muriel has had his ups and downs, but I've always been a big fan. Very befitting of this current Atalanta team, of which he is among the brightest lights, Muriel is almost always great value to watch. Compact, quick and powerful, Muriel is brilliant on the ball, he has 1 or 2 tricks up his sleeve, and he can be devastating in front of goal. That has been the case this season, already the best of Muriel's career, in which he has scored 20 goals in 37 games, in addition to bagging 7 assists. His stats sound even more impressive when you point out that the Colombian has scored 16 goals and made 7 assists from only 11 starts in Serie A alone this season, averaging a goal contribution in the league roughly every 40 minutes. That is freakishly good, but it hasn't yet won him a trophy. From Udinese to Sevilla, Muriel has always been an early man, his only trophy to date having been the 2011 Toulon tournament with Colombia's under-20s, which obviously doesn't count as per my criteria. Let's hope that changes before he hangs up his boots, because he sure deserves it. Samir Handanovic. The oldest player in this 7, Samir Handanovic has won several individual accolades, but not yet a single team trophy. Not even one of the rubbish ones that I'm not counting. That is quite shocking if you think, like me, that he is without doubt one of the finest goalkeepers of his generation. If I were making a list of the best goalkeepers in world football over the last 15 years, I've no doubt Handanovic would make the top 10, and I strongly suspect he would feature in the top 5. But whilst all those around him would likely have won more silverware than the winner of a cutlery-orientated raffle, Handanovic is left with nothing. The Slovenian international, who retired from international duty in 2015, having been replaced by Jan Oblak, has been playing his club football in Italy since 2005. Now aged 36, it's a frightening thought experiment to contemplate how far Inter Milan could have fallen without Handanovic between the sticks over the last 9 years. Consistently the club's best player throughout the majority of that period, Handanovic has thrice made the Serie A Team of the Year. He came very close to a maiden trophy last season, of course, when Inter Milan reached the Europa League final, but Sevilla put 3 goals past him, leaving him empty-handed once again. Thankfully, it is almost certain that were I to make this video in a couple of months' time, Handanovic would be ineligible, since Inter are in pole position to win the Scudetto this season. Don't cock it up now, Samir. Stephan de Vrij. Staying in Milan in 5th, Stephan de Vrij is a fair few years younger than Samir Handanovic, but his lack of a trophy is still pretty surprising. The 29-year-old does have one trophy, unlike Handanovic, it's just not one that I consider to be a major trophy, since it was the Italian Super Cup, which he won with Lazio in 2017. A 2-time Coppa Italia finalist during his time in Rome, Lazio lost on both occasions, and de Vrij was also obviously part of Inter Milan's losing side in last season's Europa League final as well. The winner of the 2019-20 Serie A Best Defender award, you would imagine that de Vrij would be in contention for such recognition once again this season, alongside the likes of Theo Hernandez and Cristian Romero. A wonderful all-round centre-back who is hard-working and strong, but also reads the game well and is more than comfortable in possession of the ball, de Vrij often forms an uncompromising centre-back partnership alongside the equally adept Milan Skriniar, who doesn't feature because he won 2 trophies in Slovenia as a youngster whilst playing for Zelina. De Vrij also came somewhat close to winning the biggest trophy of them all in 2014 when he reached the World Cup semi-finals with the Netherlands as one of the outstanding defenders at that tournament. De Vrij made the World Cup All-Star team, and it was that tournament that really provided the springboard for his career as he joined Lazio during the same summer before heading to Inter in 2018. Gerard Moreno. I can remember hearing Gerard Moreno's name years and years ago when he was only maybe 17 or 18 years old, after he had averaged about a goal a game for Villarreal's third team. There seemed to be all kinds of excitement around him at the time, but it seemed like a good few years before he popped onto my radar again. I'm not sure why that was the case, because watching Moreno for the last couple of years, you wonder why he hasn't been Spain's first choice number 9 for the last half a decade. Born in Catalonia, it took a return to the region with Espanyol for Moreno to really start making waves in Spain's top flight. Such an intelligent centre-forward, he perhaps isn't lightning quick, but his movement and lethal left foot more than compensate for that fact. He scored 18 goals in La Liga and 20 in all competitions last season, and he's already matched that tally in significantly fewer games so far this term. In fact, the holy trinity of Messi, Suarez and Benzema are the only 3 players to have scored more goals than him in La Liga this season. Moreno has essentially only played for Villarreal and Espanyol, barring a stint on loan at Mallorca, neither of whom have won a trophy of any kind in more than 15 years. Villarreal, it must be said, have assembled a really talented group of players, but major silverware still seems like a big ask. Having said that, they are still in the quarterfinals of the Europa League this season, up against Dinamo Zagreb, so who knows. Jack Grealish. Our youngest inclusion, at that cut-off age of 25, most of our audience will be well aware of the talents of Jack Grealish and his career trajectory to date. Always a supremely talented and naturally gifted footballer, I can remember watching an 18-year-old Grealish look like the best player on the pitch in a Premier League game against Hull City. To look at him then, you'd have said, yes, he is certain to become a top-class player, and perhaps one of Ireland's greatest of all time. Sorry about that, Scarfman. Joking aside, there have been times since then when people, myself included, questioned whether Jack Grealish would live up to his undoubted potential, and it wasn't really until Dean Smith's appointment that we started to get some answers. Smith gave Grealish the captain's armband, placing considerable trust in him, but also making his expectations of the Birmingham native pretty clear. Whilst Grealish has still had 1 or 2 indiscretions off the pitch, on it, he has been utterly superb. As good on the ball as virtually anyone in the Premier League, you can count on one hand the number of players who have been better than him in English football this season, and still have a couple of fingers to spare. Kevin De Bruyne, Harry Kane, Jacob Greaves, and that's it. You see, it's easily done. Grealish has reached 2 cup finals with Villa, the FA Cup final in 2015 as a youngster, where they were battered by Arsenal, and the 2020 EFL Cup final as Villa's talisman, where they were battered by Man City. Villa are a club on the up, that much seems clear, but Grealish will still have a job on his hands guiding them to a major trophy. Son HeungMin. I can't recall compiling too many sevens in recent times where I have been such a fan of every player that is featured. ever since his arrival in the European game with Hamburg, Son HeungMin has been a breath of fresh air. Hard-working, intelligent, and often brandishing his trademark smile across his face. Just imagine how big his smile would be if he actually won something. Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, what about that tournament he won with South Korea a couple of years ago that got him out of having to do his mandatory military service or something like that? You would be thinking of the 2018 Asian Games, which South Korea did indeed win, with Son at the heart of that success. However, the Asian Games functions like the Olympics in terms of its football, with an under-23 rule, of which you are allowed 3 exemptions within your squad of 20. Therefore, it is essentially a youth team competition, and in the bin it goes, it is not a major trophy. Sorry South Korea, I don't make the rules. Except that, in this case, I literally did. But I think they're still fairly reasonable. The closest Son has come to a major trophy success was of course the 2019 Champions League final, which Tottenham lost to Liverpool. You might have thought that Spurs would have had a half-decent chance in the Europa League this season, but that ship has sailed following their second leg collapse against Dinamo Zagreb. All is not lost, Son still has an EFL Cup final coming up this season, but you feel as though Spurs will have to be right at the peak of their powers to overcome Man City. Harry Kane. You all knew what was coming, but top spot couldn't really be anyone else other than Harry Kane. It is becoming a bit of a weight around Kane's neck, aged 27, that he still hasn't won any silverware. Now, Tottenham haven't won a trophy of any kind since the League Cup in 2008, which is pretty astonishing when one thinks of some of the teams and players that they have had during that time. However, for Kane in particular, the lack of trophies has become a thorn in his side. He is Tottenham's talisman and quite possibly the best centre-forward in the world right now. Lewandowski is a better goal scorer, but I think Kane is a better footballer all round. Either way, even if you stick him in second, Lewandowski has won 23 trophies to Kane's none. That is no reflection of Kane's talents, you don't win trophies on your own in football, but there is a certain question surrounding his legacy now. Gary Lineker is still considered to be a legend in English football despite only ever winning cup competitions, but Kane doesn't even have that. And Tottenham hardly look to be on the verge of competing for the Premier League title or the Champions League title anytime soon right now. Look, you all know where I'm going with this. If you want to be remembered as one of the greats of this era, Harry, which you are, you're just going to have to win the Euros and the World Cup with England. I'm afraid one EFL Cup win won't do it, so bring your A game this summer. That is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it despite my tangents, or perhaps even enjoyed it because of them. No? No one? Alright, fair enough. Well, thanks all the same, I appreciate you watching as ever. Give us a like if you enjoyed this video, I sincerely appreciate it. Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments, and make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for the one and only HITC Sevens. You can also find me on Twitter or Instagram via the username @HITC Sevens on both, should you wish to do so.